Good morning. Today we will discuss regarding flow measurement. The measurement of flow rate may be concerned with first flow rate and second total flow. Now, the flow rate is indicated as direct fluid velocity, volume flow rate and mass flow rate. And the total flow measurements involve measurement of total volume and total mass. So there are two types of flow meters. First is rate meters and second it is quantity meters. The rate flow meters either measure the volumetric flow rate directly or use meters that measure velocity from which the volume flow rate can be calculated by multiplying it with area of cross section. Quantity meters measure the total flow or quantity, which means the amount of fluid that flows across a given point in a specified interval of time. Now we will see what are the different flow measurement methods. So first of all, we will see what is measurement of flow. So flow meters, it is a device that measures the rate of flow or quantity of a moving fluid in an open or closed conduit. Flow measuring devices are generally classified into four groups. So these are mechanical flow meters, inferential type flow meters, third is electrical type flow meters and other flow meters. Now today we will see what is inferential type flow meters. So in the inferential type flow meters, the flow is not directly measured but is inferred from measurements of other quantities which are related, that may be pressure, temperature, force, displacement and velocity, etc. The information obtained from the sensors is converted into a velocity. The velocity in conjunction with the area of cross section is used for determination of volumetric flow rate. The volumetric flow rate may be integrated with respect to time to give the value of total quantity. Now we will see inferential methods for flow rate measurements. So these are, first is head type, wherein the flow rate is inferred from differential pressure measurements across an engineered obstruction or constriction. Second is variable area or rotameter type, wherein the flow rate is inferred from a displacement of an object that results from a balance of weight force against a velocity force. Third is magnetic meter, wherein the flow rate is inferred from a velocity. Fourth is turbine meters, wherein the flow rate is inferred from a velocity proportionally factor. Fifth is target meters, wherein the flow rate is inferred from a force measurement. Sixth is thermal flow meters, wherein the flow rate is inferred from change in thermal conductivity. Spiral meters, wherein the flow rate is inferred from temperature or pressure oscillations. And last is sonic meters, wherein the flow rate is inferred from noise level or Doppler effect. So we have seen the different types of inferential methods for flow rate measurement. Now flow measuring devices. The measurement of fluid flow is important in applications ranging from measurements of blood flow rates in human artery to the measurement of liquid oxygen in the rocket. Some sort of restriction is placed in the pipe or duct carrying the fluid. This flow restriction causes a pressure drop that varies with the flow rate. Now we will see the different flow rate measurement devices. So first is venturimeter. A venturimeter is a variable head meter which is used for measuring the flow rate of a fluid through a pipe. In this meter, the fluid is gradually accelerated to a throat and then gradually retarded in diverging section where the flow channel expands to the pipe size. Venturimeters have only small head loss, no moving parts, and do not clog easily. So the working principle that is used in a venturimeter is by reducing the cross-sectional area of the flow passage, a pressure difference is created and the measurement of that pressure difference enables the estimation of the flow rate through the pipe. So by measuring the pressure difference by using the manometers, you can calculate or you can measure the flow rate through the pipe. So that is a working principle that is used in a venturimeter. So regarding the construction, a venturimeter consists of following three parts: a short converging conical part, then the throat and diverging conical part. So you can see in a diagram. So there is a, from the left hand side, you can see there is a inlet main, then the converging section. At the center you can see there is a throat, and the diameter it is gradually increased, that is called the diverging section. And there are, at the bottom you can see there are two ports at the inlet main and at the center of the throat where you can connect the manometer. You can see the another diagram. So that is a flow, it is admitted through the left hand side, then there is an inlet main, then the diameter of that pipe it is gradually decreased, that is called a converging cone. Then for some distance the diameter it is same, that is called the throat, and then again the diameter it is increased, that is called the diverging cone, and the flow exit, that is called the exit main. And there are two ports, one it is at inlet main and another at the center of the throat. Through to that you can connect the manometer to check the pressure difference, and that pressure difference that can be made to indicate the flow rate. Okay, so that pressure difference that you have to measure, and that is calibrated to indicate directly a pressure. So that is a principle that is used in a venturimeter. Now regarding the construction and working. So in this, flow velocity is greatly increase in a reduced section with which the corresponding pressure decreases, causing a difference in pressure between the two sections. Using Bernoulli's theorem and continuity equation, a relationship is established between the flow rate and differential pressure. Therefore, the differential pressure can be made to indicate the flow rate. So venturimeter is most widely used device for measurement of discharge through pipe. The diameter, its first taper to a small cross section, that is called the throat. So the cross section of the pipe it is decreased, that small cross section of the pipe it is called the throat. The diameter it is again gradually increased to its original size. The venturimeter therefore consists of the inlet main, you can see in the diagram, inlet main, convergent cone, cylindrical throat, gradually diverging cone, and an exit main. The venturi barrel is equipped with the piezometer connections in an annular pressure ring for averaging the upstream pressure. It is the high pressure connection at this point. A similar ring is designed for a throat where the low pressure connections are made. So at the inlet main there is a high pressure, and at the throat there will be the low pressure. So the connections for the manometers that are made at the inlet main and the throat. Now the differential pressure head is due to difference in pressures between the main inlet and the throat. So in order to measure pressure differential, U-tube manometer are used. Therefore, differential pressure is measured, and that can be made to indicate the flow rate. So advantages of the venturimeter. The pressure recovery is much better than for the orifice plate, suitable for clean, dirty and viscous liquid. Pressure loss is low, viscosity effect is high, relative cost is medium. These are some advantages of venturimeter. Then disadvantages or limitations. They are large in size, and hence where space is limited they cannot be used. Expensive initial cost, installation and maintenance. Cannot be used in pipes below 7.5 cm diameter, and cannot be altered for measuring flow rate up to a wide range. These are the limitations of venturimeter. Now we will see the applications. It is used, applications of venturimeter. It is used where we are looking with small pressure head. Can be used for measuring flow rates of water, gases, suspended solids, slurries and dirty liquids. Then can be used to measure high flow rates in pipes having diameters in few meters, and it does not clogs easily. So that is regarding the principle, construction, working, advantages and disadvantages of venturimeter. Now next device that is used for the flow measurement is a rotameter. So rotameter, it is a device used to measure fluid flow in which there is a float which rises in a tapered vertical tube to a height dependent on the rate of flow through the tube. So that is a working principle. You can see there is a tube, then there is a float inside the tube, and due to the flow, that float that will be rise in a upward direction. So it is a variable area meter which works on the principle of upthrust force exerted by fluid and force of gravity. So regarding the construction, you can see there is a graduated taper metering glass tube and the float inside the tube, glass tube. So floats may be constructed of metals of various densities, from lead to aluminium or from glass or plastic. So stainless steel floats are most commonly used. Float shapes and proportions are also varied for different applications. For small floats are spherical in shape. Now you can see the diagram of the rotameter. You can see at the bottom the fluid enters through the bottom, that is the inlet. Then there is a tapered glass tube. It is a transparent, and there are the calibration or the marking that is placed on a glass tube. Inside the glass tube there is a metering float. Then there is a outlet at the top, you can see. Now a rotameter is a constant pressure drop variable area flow meter. It consists of a vertical tapered tube with a float which is free to move within the tube. So there is a tapered glass tube, vertical tube, and inside that vertical tube there is a float which can be free to move in a upward or downward direction due to the flow. A rotameter consists of glass tube. A fluid flows through the tube from the bottom to the top. When no fluid is flowing, the float rests at the bottom of the tube. The float is made up of such a diameter that it completely blocks the inlet, that is small end of the tube, when there is a no flow. When a flow starts in the pipeline and the fluid reaches the float, the buoyant effect of fluid makes the float lighter. The float passage remains closed until the pressure of the flowing material plus the fluid buoyancy effect exceeds the downward pressure due to weight of the throat. When the pressure of the flowing material or the pressure of the fluid plus fluid buoyancy effect that exceeds the downward pressure of the weight of the throat, the float that will move in an upward direction. The float then rises and floats within the flowing medium in proportion to the flow at the given pressure. As the float moves upwards towards the larger end, that is called the outlet of the tapered hole, an annular passage is opened between the inner wall of the glass tube and the periphery of the float. This forms a concentric opening through which the flowing material passes. Additional increase in flow rate causes the float to rise higher in the tube. The decrease in a flow rate causes the float to sink, that is come down to a lower level. This means that every float position corresponds to one particular flow rate. That means if the flow rate, if it is higher, then the float that will rise in an upward direction. When there is a decrease in a flow rate, that float that will come down. So there will be the different levels of the float according to the flow rate. This means that every float position corresponds to one particular flow rate. The float gives a reading on a calibrated scale, each on the glass tube. So there is a scale that is calibrated on a glass tube so that you can directly take the reading. The flow rate can be determined by direct observation of the metering float. So these are the different types of floats that you can place in a glass tube. That is a working. So you can see in a diagram the moving of the float when the fluid enters through the bottom. The float that will move in an upward direction. So this is a measurement of the flow rate. There is a scale that is calibrated on a glass tube. So when the float rise, you can take the level and that floats give a reading on a calibrated scale that is placed on the glass tube. So the flow rate can be determined by direct observation of the metering float. So you can see there is a horizontal line, that is equilibrium, and you can take the reading of the flow rate directly. Now the advantages: it cannot be used accurately below about 30% of its maximum flow reading. Only one correction needs to be made over entire range of meter. Can be used for metering liquids, gases and vapors. No external power or fuel is required. Manufactured of cheap materials. Useful for measurement of low flow rates. These are some advantages of the rotameter. Then disadvantages: they must be mounted vertically as the gravity factor affects the flow rate. It is likely to break the glass tube if the pressure exceeds a particular value. When the pressure exceeds that value, the glass tube that will get break. Cost, weight and handling problems restrict their use beyond a certain pipe diameter. Then some applications that is used to measure the flow of gases and air at low flow rates, when cost is the main consideration and when high accuracy is not required. That is the conclusion. So this is regarding the principle, then the construction, working, advantages, disadvantages and applications of venturimeter and the rotameter. Thank you.